Everything now depends on the discovery of the relics of Hua Tzuo, the wandering cultivator. If I can find them, all my obstacles will be easily resolved. If I can't, the enormous challenges ahead will slow down my cultivation and leave me far behind my peers in the early stages. It's puzzling. I've spent over a week trying to attract the liquor worm, yet it hasn't appeared. Fang Yuan frowned, deep in thought, absent-mindedly eating his meal without tasting a thing. Just then, a loud commotion broke his train of thought. Looking toward the center table, he saw 6 hunters, the scent of alcohol thick in the air, and the atmosphere fiery and heated. All of them were red-faced from drinking. "Brother Zhang, come on, have another drink. Brother Feng, we admire your skill, taking down that black wild boar all by yourself. You're a true hero. You had to drink this one, or it'll be an insult to us brothers." "Thank you, brothers, but I really can't drink anymore." "What, are you saying this wine isn't good enough for you? Brother Feng, waiter, get over here and bring us the finest wine." Their voices grew louder, clearly showing the effects of too much alcohol. The busy waiter hurried over. "Masters, we do have finer wine, but it's a bit pricey." "What, you think we can't pay?" One of the hunters even stood up, glaring at the waiter. These hunters, though not giants, were burly and muscular, exuding a fierce aura typical of mountain men. The waiter quickly bowed and explained, "I wouldn't dare offend such heroes. It's just that this particular wine is rather expensive. 1 jar costs 2 spirit stones." The hunters froze. 2 spirit stones? That was a hefty price, enough to support an average family for 2 months. Though hunters made more than ordinary folk by hunting wild boar, which could sell for half a spirit stone, hunting was dangerous. Sometimes, the hunters themselves could become prey. Spending 2 spirit stones on a single jar of wine was hard to justify for them. "Is there really wine that expensive? Boy, are you trying to trick us?" The hunters continued to shout, but their voices had grown weaker, and they were now a bit embarrassed. The waiter wisely stayed silent. Feng, the hunter in the middle, seeing the tension rising, quickly stepped in to calm things down. "Brothers, no need to splurge today. Let's save this wine for another time." "But brother, that's not right," the other hunters protested, but their voices grew quieter. And one by one, they sat down. The waiter, sensing no sale, started to leave, but suddenly, a mocking voice came from a corner of the room. "Ha ha, how pathetic. You can't even afford a drink. And you're making such a fuss. If you can't pay, shut up and sit down." The hunters were stunned by these words, and one of them instantly shouted in anger, "Who said we can't afford it? Waiter, bring the jar of wine. I'll pay right now, not just 2 spirit stones." "Right away, sir." The waiter, surprised by the sudden change of heart, quickly returned with a jar of wine. The jar was half the size of a regular one, but as soon as the seal was broken, a pure, rich aroma filled the room. Even the old man drinking alone by the window turned to look. Drawn by the fragrance, it was indeed fine wine. "Gentlemen, I wasn't exaggerating. This is the best Qingzhou wine. Exclusive to our inn. Just take a whiff." The waiter inhaled deeply, his face full of satisfaction. Fang Yuan's mind stirred. The waiter wasn't bluffing. In Gu village, there were only 3 inns, all serving the same common rice wine. For 7 days straight, Fang Yuan had been buying wine in hopes of luring out the liquor worm. So he knew this well. The hunters stared at the jar, their noses twitching, throats gulping, and their craving for wine reignited. The hunter who had rashly bought the wine was even more troubled. The jar had cost him 2 spirit stones. What was I thinking? Buying this jar in a moment of recklessness? The waiter acted too quickly, bringing out the wine, and now I can't even return it, he thought, his heart aching, but unable to retreat without losing face. He slammed his hand on the table and forced a grin. "Damn it, brothers, drink up, this one's on me." Just then, the young man in the corner spoke again, mocking them. "1 small jar for 6 people? If you've got the guts, buy a few more." The hunter's face turned red with fury. He leapt up, veins bulging, and shouted at the young man, "You little punk, come here and fight me." "Oh, very well, I'll step out." The young man stood up from the shadows, grinning maliciously as he approached. He was tall and slender, his skin pale, dressed in a dark green martial robe, neat and clean. He wore a light jade green headband, and his exposed shoulders were thin and bony. His long trousers and pointed bamboo shoes completed the outfit. Strapped to his calves were cloth wrappings. Most importantly, he wore a coarse fabric belt with a bronze buckle engraved with the character 1. A rank 1 Gu master? The hunter gasped, his anger instantly replaced by fear. He hadn't expected to provoke a Gu master. You wanted to fight me, didn't you? Come on, make your move. The young Gu master strolled over with a grin on his face. But the hunter, who had just been ready to attack, stood frozen in place like a statue. Or you could all come at me together. The Gu master casually approached their table. The hunters' faces turned pale. Their drunken flush faded as cold sweat began to bead on their foreheads. They sat uneasily, barely daring to breathe. The young Gu master picked up the jar of Qingzu wine, sniffed it with a smirk, and said, "Such a lovely aroma. If you like the wine, please take it. Consider it an apology from us for offending you." The hunter who had challenged him said, forcing a smile as he bowed. Unexpectedly, the Gu master's face darkened. He hurled the jar to the ground with a crash. His eyes flashed coldly as he shouted, "You think you have the right to apologize to me? A bunch of mortals like you. So rich you can afford to buy wine for 2 spirit stones? Don't you know I've been struggling to gather spirit stones? And here you are, flaunting your wealth before me. You mortals think you're worthy? Please, we didn't mean to offend you. Spare us, Master Gu, we're just foolish hunters. Here, take our spirit stones as compensation." The hunters scrambled to offer up whatever they had, mostly small, broken pieces of spirit stones. The largest only a quarter of a stone. The Gu master ignored their offerings, sneering as his sharp gaze swept over them like a hawk eyeing its prey. Under his piercing gaze, the hunters all lowered their heads in shame. Even the old man by the window turned away, avoiding the Gu master's eyes. Only Fang Yuan looked back at the young Gu master, his expression calm, unafraid. The young Gu master's attire could only be worn by those who had officially achieved the rank of Gu master. Even Fang Yuan, still a student, had yet to earn the right to wear it. Only after graduating would he receive such robes from his family. The 1 on the young Gu master's bronze buckle indicated he was a rank 1 Gu master, though his aura suggested he had reached the high stage of rank 1. Despite being in his 20s, his cultivation was still at the high stage of rank 1, indicating poor aptitude. His talent was even inferior to Fang Yuan's. He was likely a support Gu master, not suited for combat. Still, even a non-combat Gu master could easily overpower 6 strong hunters. Such was the power disparity between Gu masters and ordinary mortals. With power, you can stand above others. This is the way of the world. No. It's the way of all worlds. The strong devour the weak, and the weak devour the weaker. This world merely exposes the truth more brutally. Fang Yuan reflected silently. Around 300 years ago, the Gu Yue Clan saw the rise of a prodigious talent. This individual possessed extraordinary aptitude and, as a young man, had already reached the level of a rank 5 Gu master, with the potential to progress even further. His name echoed across Qingmao Mountain, earning him unmatched prestige and the hopes of the entire clan. This was the 4th-generation clan leader, whose legacy lived on in the history of the Gu Yue clan. Tragically, while defending the clan, the 4th clan leader clashed with Hua Tzuo, a demonic Gu master of equal rank, though the clan leader managed to defeat Hua Tzuo in a fierce battle, forcing the demon to kneel and beg for mercy. In the end, he was treacherously ambushed by Hua Tzuo. Enraged, the clan leader killed Hua Tzuo, but he was fatally wounded in the process and passed away in his prime. This story, filled with sorrow and tragedy, had been passed down for generations, a tale revered by all in the Gu Yue clan. However, Fang Yuan knew that the story couldn't be trusted entirely. There was a major flaw. In his previous life, about a month after this supposed incident, a heartbroken Gu master, drunk and lying outside the village, had accidentally attracted a liquor worm with the scent of wine. Chasing after the worm, the Gu master stumbled upon Hua Tzuo's remains in a hidden underground cave, along with the demon's relics. The Gu master quickly reported the discovery to the clan, causing a massive stir. When the dust settled, he was rewarded, obtaining the liquor worm and raising his cultivation. The woman who had once abandoned him even came back, and he became a notable figure within the village. Stories passed down through the years tend to change, and Fang Yuan understood that such changes were natural, but based on his memories. While the story of how the Gu master found the relics seemed credible, he suspected a deeper truth was hidden within. I didn't notice it before, but after days of searching and analyzing, I've realized something is off. Night had fallen as Fang Yuan wandered through the bamboo forest surrounding the village, piecing together every clue he had gathered. Think from someone else's perspective. If I were that Gu master and had found Hua Tzuo's relics, why wouldn't I keep them for myself? Don't give me that nonsense about clan honor. Humans are naturally greedy. What could have driven him to give up all those riches and report it to the clan elders? The truth remained shrouded in the mists of history. And despite his deep contemplation, Fang Yuan couldn't arrive at a clear answer. The clues were too few, just 2 leads. And even they were half-truths, not to be entirely trusted. Fang Yuan couldn't help but reflect on his own situation. Regardless of what's true, after buying this jar of Qingzhou wine, I only have 2 spirit stones left. If I don't find the relics tonight, I'm in big trouble. Though he could still cultivate the Gu worms he currently possessed, it wouldn't be enough. It was better to gamble everything on the wine to increase his chances of success. Most people would proceed cautiously, saving up spirit stones, but that kind of efficiency was too slow for Fang Yuan. He preferred to take risks, live on the edge. Those in the demonic path were always risk-takers. Now, as the night deepened, the spring moon curved like a bow. The clouds drifted across the sky, veiling the crescent moon with a soft, misty glow. After 3 days and 3 nights of torrential rain, the air in the mountains had been cleansed, leaving it fresh and pure. The cool, clean air was like a blank page, allowing the scent of the wine to spread far and wide. This was one of the reasons Fang Yuan felt so confident tonight. This is the last area left to search. He stopped at a grove of bamboo. Though the 7 days of searching hadn't been entirely fruitless, at least he had confirmed that Hua Tzuo hadn't died in the other areas. This was the second reason for his confidence. The bamboo forest was thick with fragrant grass, white flowers in full bloom, and the green bamboo stalks stood straight like jade rods. Fang Yuan uncorked the jar of wine, and the rich fragrance immediately filled the air. Qingzhou wine was the finest spirit in the entire Gu village. This was the third reason Fang Yuan felt so sure about tonight. With these 3 major factors in my favor, if there's any chance of success, it has to be tonight. Fang Yuan encouraged himself as he slowly tipped the jar, letting some of the Qingzhou wine trickle onto the rocks. If the hunters from earlier had seen this, they'd be heartbroken. This jar had cost 2 whole spirit stones. After all, but Fang Yuan remained indifferent. The pure aroma of the wine quickly spread through the night air, carried by the gentle breeze, permeating the entire bamboo forest. Fang Yuan stood still, inhaling the scent, waiting for any sign. Suddenly, a nightingale's song echoed from nearby, its voice as clear as silver bells. Fang Yuan's eyes remained calm, showing no surprise. He moved on to another spot about 100 steps away and repeated the process, pouring out more wine and waiting. He continued this process several times, moving to different locations, until most of the wine in the jar was gone. One last try. Fang Yuan sighed to himself, holding the jar upside down, letting the last few drops of wine fall to the ground. The wine soaked into the grass, the green blades swaying gently, while the wildflowers bowed their heads. Wet with the drink, Fang Yuan stood still, clutching onto the last sliver of hope, his eyes scanning the surroundings. It was now late into the night. Thick clouds obscured the moon, casting the bamboo forest in darkness like a theater's curtain descending over the stage. Everything around him was silent. The bamboo stalks stood alone, their straight lines reflected in Fang Yuan's eyes. He stood there quietly, listening to his own steady breaths, feeling hope drain from his chest, leaving only emptiness behind. Did I fail after all? He muttered. Even with 3 major advantages tonight, I couldn't attract the liquor worm. This means the chances of success in the future will be even slimmer. Now I only have 2 spirit stones left. And I still need to refine the Moonlight Gu. I can't afford to take any more risks. In life, taking risks often doesn't pay off. But when it does, the rewards are immense. Fang Yuan liked taking risks. But he wasn't the kind of gambler who would recklessly bet everything in a desperate attempt to win back his losses. He had his limits. He knew his own resources. His 500 years of life experience had taught him that now was the time to stop. Sometimes, life is like this. There is always an alluring goal, seemingly within reach, but no matter how hard you try, you can't quite grasp it. It leaves you tossing and turning, haunted by dreams of what could have been. This is the inevitability of life, but also its allure. Fang Yuan smiled bitterly and turned to leave. But just then, a gentle breeze blew through, like a soft hand brushing away the clouds in the night sky. The thick clouds drifted apart, revealing the crescent moon. The moonlight poured down like water, and the crescent moon hung in the sky like a jade cup, tilted to spill its crystal-clear liquid. The moonlight fell over the bamboo forest, onto the rocks, over the flowing stream, and finally onto Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan, dressed in simple clothes, looked even more youthful under the moon's tender glow. In that instant, the darkness seemed to disappear, replaced by a breathtaking scene of ethereal beauty. The nightingale, as if moved by the moonlight, began to sing again, but this time, it wasn't alone. From all around the bamboo forest, nightingales joined in, their voices rising and falling in harmony. Other creatures in the mountains stirred as well. The longwan crickets swayed under the moon, their chirps a song of life. The night brought them out in full force, their bodies glowing red as they flew in clusters, each cricket shimmering like carnelian. Fang Yuan caught sight of them, a river of glowing red flowing through the wildflowers and grass, leaping in excitement under the moonlight. The bamboo forest felt as though it was submerged in water, with the bamboo stalks gleaming like jade under the moon. Emerging from the darkness to find hope once more, nature displayed its radiant beauty before Fang Yuan. He unconsciously paused, feeling as though he had wandered into a celestial realm. Just as he was about to turn away, he glanced back instinctively. The wildflowers, damp with Qingzhou wine, swayed gently in the breeze. There was nothing else in sight. Fang Yuan smiled wryly and averted his gaze. But then, out of the corner of his eye, he spotted a small, snow-white figure. It clung to a bamboo stalk not far away, gleaming like a round pearl under the moonlight. Fang Yuan's eyes widened, and his body trembled slightly. His heart thundered in his chest. It was the liquor worm. The liquor worm looked like a small silkworm, its entire body emitting a soft, jade-like glow. It was plump and rather adorable in appearance. It fed on alcohol, capable of flying, and when it did, its body would curl up, moving at an incredible speed. Despite being a rank 1 Gu worm, its value surpassed some rank 2 ones. If used as a life-bound Gu worm, it would be far superior to the Moonlight Gu. At this moment, such a liquor worm was clinging to a green bamboo stalk, only 50 to 60 steps away from Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan held his breath and didn't rashly approach. Instead, he slowly backed away. He knew that although the distance seemed close, for a Gu master who had only just opened his aperture, capturing the liquor worm would be extremely difficult, almost impossible. Even though Fang Yuan's vision wasn't sharp enough to fully discern the worm's shape, he had a strong sense that the liquor worm was on high alert. He retreated carefully, slowly, ensuring not to startle the creature. He knew that if the liquor worm decided to fly, its speed would be far beyond his ability to catch up. His only chance was to wait until it drank itself into a stupor and slowed down enough for him to grab it. As Fang Yuan retreated further, the liquor worm, still perched on the bamboo stalk, couldn't help but shift its body. The rich scent of the wine ahead was luring it in, captivating it entirely, as if it were addicted. If it had drool, it would have already formed a large puddle by now. Yet, despite its greed, the liquor worm was still highly vigilant. Only after Fang Yuan had backed away another 200 steps did the worm finally relax, springing off the bamboo and into the air. As it flew, its body curled up, resembling a smooth, white dumpling in midair. It traced a graceful arc through the sky before landing on a drop of Qingzhou wine that Fang Yuan had spilled onto the grass. With food so close, the liquor worm lowered its guard further. It hurried to the flower bud containing the drop of wine, burying its head inside, leaving only its chubby tail visible. Starving and enticed by the delicious Qingzu wine, the worm drank greedily, losing itself in the pleasure of the meal, completely forgetting about Fang Yuan's presence. Now, Fang Yuan cautiously made his move. Quietly approaching, he watched as the liquor worm's tail, fat and smooth like a silkworm's, protruded from the flower. The light reflecting off it gave the impression of a luminous pearl. At first, the tail remained still, but soon it began to wiggle up and down, indicating that the worm was enjoying the wine immensely. By the time Fang Yuan was within 10 steps, the liquor worm's tail was swaying side to side, happily following the rhythm of its joy. It was completely drunk. Seeing this, Fang Yuan nearly laughed out loud. He didn't move closer, though. Instead, he patiently waited. He could have easily captured the worm now. But Fang Yuan wanted it to lead him to the remains of Hua Tzuo, the rogue Gu master. After a while, the liquor worm finished drinking and crawled out of the flower bud. Its body had visibly plumped up, and it swayed drunkenly like a man who had overindulged in alcohol. Clearly unaware of Fang Yuan's presence, it crawled onto a nearby pale yellow wildflower, disappearing again into its center to continue its feast. Finally, after drinking its fill, the worm seemed satisfied. Its body slowly curled up on the flower petal before it floated up, about 1.5 meters off the ground, and lazily flew deeper into the bamboo forest. Fang Yuan quickly gave chase. The liquor worm, now thoroughly intoxicated, flew at half the speed it normally would. Even so, Fang Yuan had to push himself to his limits to keep up. The night, cleansed by the rain, was clear and fresh. The young man sprinted through the bamboo forest, chasing after the small white silhouette ahead. The moonlight was soft, the breeze gentle, and the air in the bamboo forest felt like crystal clear water. The bamboo stalks, vibrant and green, quickly appeared and then vanished behind him as he ran. On the ground, wildflowers dotted the fresh grass. Rocks were covered in moss, and young bamboo shoots sprouted. Fang Yuan's shadow darted across the earth, weaving between the straight shadows of the bamboo that were cast on the ground. In the faint scent of wine, he breathed in the cool mountain air. His eyes locked onto the white figure, his feet moving swiftly in pursuit. His pace was so fast that the moonlight before his eyes seemed fluid, and the surrounding scenery drifted by like seaweed in a current. The liquor worm flew out of the bamboo forest, and Fang Yuan burst out right behind it. A vast expanse of beautiful flowers and grasses greeted him, their petals swirling in the breeze as he passed. A flock of longwan crickets, like a moving poem, suddenly appeared in front of him, charging straight through. Fang Yuan heard a rushing sound as the red light of the crickets disbanded into 1,000 glowing specks. A quiet stream flowed gently, pebbles scattered along its bed. The water babbled as it moved, reflecting the spring moon hanging in the night sky. With a few splashes, Fang Yuan crossed the stream, shattering the moon's reflection into countless silver ripples. How tragic for the moonlit stream, as its crystal surface now lay broken. Fang Yuan didn't stop, continuing his pursuit of the liquor worm. He vaguely heard the distant roar of a waterfall coming from upstream. After passing through a sparse grove of trees, Fang Yuan finally saw the liquor worm slip into a narrow crack between two large rocks. A light appeared ahead of him, and at last, Fang Yuan came to a halt. So this is where it's been hiding. He gasped for air, his heart pounding in his chest. As he stopped, he realized his entire body was drenched in sweat, the heat radiating through his limbs. Looking around, Fang Yuan found himself in a dry riverbed. Smooth pebbles of all sizes littered the ground, and the water barely rose above them, covering only an inch of their surface. Large, grayish-white rocks were scattered across the area. Behind Qingmao Mountain lay a great waterfall that cascaded thousands of feet, forming a deep pool beneath it. Beside the pool was the Bai family village, a force almost as powerful as the Gu Yue Clan. The waterfall had branches, and it was clear that the stream Fang Yuan now stood beside was one such offshoot. This riverbed was usually dry, but the recent 3 days and nights of rain had caused water to collect here. The source of this stream was a massive boulder that the liquor worm had just entered. This boulder rested against a steep cliff. A thin stream of water flowed down from the main waterfall, like a giant silver snake slithering down the cliff, eventually landing on the boulder. Over the years, the water had eroded a crack in the rock. At this moment, the small waterfall roared as it poured down, creating a white curtain that completely obscured the crack in the rock. After taking a moment to catch his breath, Fang Yuan's eyes grew resolute. He approached the boulder, took a deep breath, and plunged into the crack. The gap was large enough for two adults to walk through side by side. So it was no problem for Fang Yuan, who was still just a 15-year-old boy. Once inside, the rushing water quickly pressed against his body, and the icy cold stream soaked him from head to toe. Enduring the water's pressure, Fang Yuan pushed forward, walking about 10 more steps before the force of the water began to lessen. However, the crack also narrowed, and Fang Yuan had to turn sideways to continue. All around him was the sound of rushing water, with a white glow overhead and a deep darkness further inside the rock. What lay hidden in that darkness? Perhaps a venomous snake, perhaps a poisonous lizard, or maybe even a trap left by Hua Tzuo, the demonic Gu Yue master. Or, perhaps, there was nothing at all. Fang Yuan squeezed himself deeper into the darkness. The rushing water overhead disappeared. The slippery moss that clung to the walls brushed against his skin as he continued forward. Swallowed entirely by the darkness, the crack grew narrower, until even Fang Yuan's head couldn't turn freely. Gritting his teeth, he pressed on. After 20 more steps, he noticed a faint red glow in the darkness. At first, he thought it was an illusion, but after blinking several times and looking again, he confirmed that the light was real. This discovery filled Fang Yuan with joy. Pressing on for another 60 steps, the red glow became brighter, and a long, narrow slit gradually appeared in front of him. Stretching out his left hand, Fang Yuan suddenly realized there was no wall in front of him. Excited, he knew for certain that there was indeed a hidden space within the boulder. Quickening his pace, he finally squeezed through the crack. Beyond was an open area, approximately 80 square meters wide. I've traveled far. I've surely passed through the entire boulder. I must be within the cliff now. While shaking his arms and stretching his limbs, Fang Yuan began to survey the mysterious space. In the secret cave, the voice of another person suddenly echoed from behind. Even Fang Yuan, at this moment, felt the hair on the back of his neck stand up, his scalp tingling. He had been followed. Could it be that his frequent trips outside over the past few days had caught the attention of someone watching? Or was it someone his uncle sent? In his mind, the image of the rank 1 Gu Yue master from the inn, the young man named Xianxia, also flashed by. In that brief moment, countless thoughts and suspicions filled his head as he quickly calculated a solution. Fang Yuan could sense the intense killing intent hidden within the brief words. This made him sigh inwardly. He was only a beginner at rank 1, and without a life-bound Gu Yue, his battle strength was almost non-existent. How could he possibly fight? Too weak, he cursed inwardly. You've already been poisoned by my exclusive Gu Yue. Without the antidote, you'll turn into a puddle of blood in 7 days. The voice behind him rang out again. Gritting his teeth, Fang Yuan maintained his composure. Speaking calmly, you want the liquor worm? I can give it to you. He slowly stood up, his movements deliberately sluggish. But at that moment, another voice suddenly rang out, filled with fear and trembling. I'll give it to you. I'll give you everything. Just spare my life. Great Hua Tzuo. Wait a moment. What is this? Fang Yuan furrowed his brows and turned around. On the stone wall in front of him, lights flickered, and an image appeared as if it were a movie from Earth. A powerful Gu Yue master stood atop a mountain, while at his feet, another Gu Yue master knelt, groveling in submission. Around them were deep pits and crumbling rocks, evidence of a fierce battle just fought. Not far off, a group of old men stood watching, their faces filled with terror. The victorious Gu Yue master in the center threw his head back and laughed. Ha ha ha, Gu Yue Yingshang. It's a shame for someone as young as you to have reached rank 5. I once thought you worthy of respect, but you turned out to be such a disappointment. HMPH. The Gu master, laughing so wildly, had narrow, elongated eyes, and he wore a light-colored robe with wide sleeves that billowed in the wind. His collar was open, revealing a chest as smooth and hard as white jade. But what stood out the most was his bald, gleaming head, completely devoid of hair. Hua Tzuo, the rogue Gu master. Fang Yuan immediately recognized who the Gu master was. What am I compared to you? Great Hua Tzuo, I was foolish, blind to your greatness, and have offended you. Please, great master, for the sake of my clan's hospitality to you, spare my life. The Gu master, kneeling on the ground, trembled, cold sweat pouring down his face, and tears streamed as he begged for mercy. Fang Yuan squinted and looked closely. He realized that the kneeling Gu master was wearing the attire of the Gu Yue clan's leader. Judging by his appearance, it was none other than the fourth clan leader, and the old men standing around were likely the clan elders from that time. Ha ha ha, hospitality? You have the nerve to say that? I came to do business with you in good faith, offering a fair price in primeval stones to buy your clan's moon orchids. Yet you schemed behind my back, pretending to welcome me while plotting to poison me during the banquet. Do you really think so little of me? I've roamed the world, and I'm known as Hua Tzuo for a reason. Did you really believe you could poison me with mere wine? Pointing at the fourth clan leader groveling at his feet, Hua Tzuo sneered continuously. If you had cooperated honestly, there wouldn't have been a need for this battle. But instead, you sought to use my head to boost your reputation. You've brought this on yourself. Great master, please spare this dog's life. The fourth clan leader wailed in terror, crawling on his knees toward Hua Tzuo and clutching his legs. Master, our clan possesses spirit springs that produce primeval stones. The underground caves are filled with moon orchids. I am willing to accept your slavery, Gu, to serve as your slave, living or dead at your command, and spend my life working for you. Fang Yuan watched quietly, saying nothing, but the expressions on the faces of the elders in the image shifted constantly. Hua Tzuo narrowed his eyes, his anger slowly dissipating, his gaze flickering with a calculating glint. HMPH. The slavery Gu is extremely precious. A rank 5 Gu worm. Do you think I have one? But since you're already poisoned by my exclusive Gu, only I can cure you. I don't fear your rebellion. Very well. Your clan will supply me with 30 pounds of moon orchid petals and 3,000 primeval stones every week. I will come to collect the goods periodically and administer the antidote to keep your pathetic life intact. Thank you, great master, for sparing me. Thank you, great master, for sparing me. The fourth clan leader kowtowed repeatedly, his forehead slamming into the ground, bleeding profusely. HMPH. Enough with the groveling. I despise people like you. Gu Yue's so-called genius? A rank 5 expert? You're nothing but a coward in disguise. Serve me well, and it'll keep you alive. Suddenly, Hua Tzuo's face twisted in pain, his entire body trembling with shock. With a swift kick, he sent the fourth clan leader flying and staggered backward, horror in his voice as he shouted, "How do you still have a Gu?" The fourth clan leader, who had been kicked in the chest and coughed up blood, struggled to his feet, but a triumphant grin spread across his face. Ha ha ha, rogues like you deserve to die. This Gu is called the Moon Shadow Gu, skilled at concealing itself. Though only rank 4, it has the power to restrict the primeval sea within you. You demon, you fought fiercely against me, and your Gu worms must be depleted. How will you resist the Moon Shadow Gu now? Surrender, become my slave, serve me well, and I might just let you live. Fury consumed Hua Tzuo as he roared, "Go to hell!" Before the words had fully left his lips, his body shot forward like a bolt of lightning, his fist aimed directly at the fourth clan leader's heart. Caught off guard, the clan leader hadn't expected Hua Tzuo to attack so recklessly. Despite the threat to his primeval sea, the overwhelming force sent him flying, his body collapsing like a rag doll to the ground. Peeved, blood gushed from his mouth, mixed with shattered bits of internal organs. You're insane? We could have made a deal. He stared at Hua Tzuo, his lips barely able to move. Before he could finish speaking, his legs twitched, his head slumped to the side, and he was dead. Clan leader. These demonic rogues truly are madmen. Kill him. Avenge the clan leader. He's infected with the moon shadow Gu Yue. He can't control his primeval essence for long. Soon, even his primeval sea will be completely restricted. The observing clan elders roared in fury, charging forward. Ha ha ha, come to your deaths. Hua Tzuo let out a wild laugh, throwing himself into the midst of the attacking elders. A fierce battle ensued, with Hua Tzuo swiftly turning the tide. Before long, elders lay dead or gravely injured, their bodies strewn across the ground. Just as he was about to finish off the remaining elders, his expression suddenly changed. Clutching his abdomen, he cursed, "Damn it, I'll deal with you later." Glaring fiercely at the fallen elders, Hua Tzuo fled into the dense mountain forest. In the blink of an eye, he vanished without a trace.